And welcome back to the third episode of my new Unturned series, the survival guides that you'll need. In this episode, I'll be going through looting and the looting paths you should take. So once you load in-game, you want to take a look at the player count because it's a really good indicator to tell you if the main city, military, and towns are going to be empty. If there is more than 10 players, I wouldn't recommend going to military if you're just sorting or a main city. You should stick to the farms or the smaller towns. You usually want to go to a farm that's near you. So in Seattle, in Washington, that could be a camp or it could be a farm. So going into the farms, you'll get some crossbows, which are good weapons to get you started with. And you could also get some melee weapons like a paddle or maybe the stick that they have in farms. I forgot its name. And then moving on, you'll want to go into smaller towns. Things such as Everett and Tacoma could be good if you're in Washington. They have some good weapons, so you'd usually want to go to the gun shop. And maybe the house in Tacoma also have some good weapons, the big one. And then you could check out Scorpion if you're playing in Washington or any small town. This is usually what you'd want to do. And then you want to go to bigger cities. So let's just say in Germany, we have Berlin, which you could go to. It's the main city. And if you enter main cities, you have to be careful. And I'll talk about some strategies that you could use if you have a car and how you should scout the area before you enter. And also a big factor, as I mentioned in the beginning, is the player count. So you just have to keep an eye on that, because the more the players, the more the chance you'll find someone in that city. And when you enter main cities, you usually want to go for gun shops, police stations, fire stations have some good stuff. And maybe check out the hardware shops because they have some duct tapes, binoculars, and sometimes raw explosive. Finally, moving on, you want to go to the military bases. And in a military base, there is always someone. If there's 5 or more players, you'd usually find someone in a military base. Not if they are pre-made or playing together, because they may be building a house, but if there are like 10 separate players, you'd usually find one in a military base. So you have to be really careful, but however, it's easy to scout with a binocular. So you check it before you enter it, and when you enter, you'll find lots of loot, weapons, and armors. And you usually want to go for military armor. It gives you more protection and it doesn't make you get one shot if someone snipes you with a headshot. Okay, so here's an example on how I would organize my items before I go out to loot. So in my inventory right now, I have 2 Heartbreakers, 1 Dragon Fang, and lots of weapons. And lots of other stuff that I could use, but I'm not going to need right now. So I could store the explosives easily. And I could put some of how many military magazines do I have? I have 2, so I could move with 2 and put 1. I could add 1 Heartbreaker, 1 Dragon Fang. And this could take some stuff. We'll add that one. I could keep the MRE. I don't have much food right now. I'll keep the splints with me. I'll add the raw explosives to make a horde beacon later. I'll put the extra weapons inside of here. And do I need attachments? I could use some attachments. I don't need the suppressor. I don't need this scope, so I could put them. I don't need the silencer right now. I'll need it if there's a lot of players online. This is single player, by the way. I'm just giving you an example. I'll put the arrow. These stuff I no longer need, so I could throw them away. I have my map, I'll keep it. And I'll use that one to refill it and reload it. And let me add that one and that one inside of here. And I'll throw away these stuff because I no longer need them. I'll keep the canteen in case I find some water and I could use it. And yeah, so that's how I organize my stuff and I'm ready to go outside. And in case you have some armor, let's just say some military tops and vest, you could store them as well. You put inside the healings, you don't want to have too much healings. That's just about enough. If you have lots of dressings, you should also put some of them inside. Lots of food, the same thing, and water. And you'll need about 1 or 2 weapons. You could have a secondary weapon like a Viper maybe. So it goes a long way with Horde Breaker. Short range, and yeah. And if the server is empty, has like less than 10 players, and you decide to go to the main city, you shouldn't park your car inside of the city. You should actually look for a parking outside the city and away from the beach, because the beach is the spawn point for some players. So you want to look for a safe spot that you will remember. Just about here is a good place. So if you leave it in here, it's not inside the city, and it's not that far away, you'll be able to loot your city and you'll still have your car. If you have a good car that doesn't take damage from normal weapons and it requires a weapon like a Dragon Fang to destroy it, you could enter the city with it, but it acts as an indicator, because someone could see a car easily and people want a car, but seeing a player is much harder than seeing a car. So if someone sees a car inside of the city, he may be suspicious and he may know that you're inside the city. Okay, so now you're inside of the city and you want to scout to see if there is a player in the city or if you're alone. So a binocular would be your friend in that situation. However, you want to take cover, you don't want to be standing wide open to any enemy, because there's much taller buildings than your building. So in this case, that one. So we have this building, which is taller than that one, and the bridge could see me easily. So you could crouch basically and take a look around of the city, and there are some areas you should be worried of, which are probably going to be areas like that one, and the police station, which is that one, and the mall, because they have lots of stuff, lots of good loot, and most of the people would be probably around there. And the gas station as well, because some people may be searching for cars. You shouldn't worry much about the houses that are back there. You could find some players in them, but the majority of the players would probably be in the city center around the tower. So just scout the area, try to look for anything that's not normal, such as a zombie walking. It's a sign that there's a player. And look for any suspicious activity basically. And remember to take cover and not stand wide open. Okay guys, so let's say you spot a player in the street. So you have a couple of options you could do. This player may be a really good player, so you have an advantage, the high ground advantage. If you go in third person and you peek, you could use Q and D to your advantage as well, and you could see him easily. You have the high ground, right? And he's not inside building, he's wide open basically, walking in the street. So if you think he's a good player, let's just say he's going around killing people with his gun, zombies, so that's an indicator he's a good player. So what you want to do, if he's busy shooting a zombie or killing a zombie with melee, this is your time to shoot him. So you basically stand up and shoot him, and if he reacts fast enough, you know, some players go like that and crouch and do all this stuff, just go again and peek, reposition, you have the advantage. So let's just say you come back and you surprise them from another area, go up and shoot him again. Try to change your position to surprise your enemy and you'll probably get him. And also, if you meet him on the same level, just wait for a moment where he's actually busy and looting, taking a medication from pharmacy, such as a vaccine, or not holding his weapon basically. If he's not holding his weapon, you probably could get him easily. Even if your aim is bad, you should just try and focus. Okay guys, so let's just say you're against a party of 4 or 3 players, not 2, 4, and they are coming to the city. Let's just say they're coming from here, and they take a ride around the town, and let's just say they exit at that point. So obviously you want to go to the opposite end. You don't want to go to this area. You could go to that one. And in my case, I have my car over here, so I'd want to go behind it. And I would also, you don't want to go up against the mountain, you want to go behind the mountain. So you reduce the chance of them spotting you and coming to get you. Because having a vehicle in town will cause lots of noise and you're probably going to hear it. And if they have voice chat on, you know that they are confident and you should be scared. And if there are just two people, you can get them, but you need a good strategy because they may have two beds, one in home and the other one has a bed in town or near the town. And if someone dies, he just goes back and go gets a weapon, let's just say from the police station, comes back and kills you. So you have to be careful and you have to see their movement and put a good strategy to get them. Or you could type /home, or you could just run away. And finally, if you're strong enough and you've looted the military and have lots of loot and you're really strong, and maybe you have one or two friends, you could do it alone, but it's going to require much more material such as ammo. You could go for a Horde beacon. So a Horde beacon spawns in 100 zombie and the last one is a mega zombie. And how you craft it is a little bit annoying and it requires some grinding, but if you get the materials once, it's going to be much easier. So you have 6 metal sheets, 6 metal bar, raw explosive, chemicals, detonator and blowtorch. So you get the blowtorch and the chemicals from gas stations most of the time, and you make metal sheets using 2 metal scraps, which you could get by salvaging anything that contains metal. And using some of the metal scraps that you have, plus blowtorch, you could make some metal bars. And finally, raw explosives and detonator, which is going to be annoying and probably the most annoying to find. You find them in military bases, oopsie, and the bridges in the city. You know that military destroyed cars. And you'll find them in the end of the city, and I'll show you on the map in a second. And it requires crafting 3, which is a skill that you level up by playing. Once you finish the Horde beacon, you shouldn't leave the town. If you leave, it's going to destroy and you'll have to make it again. It gives you really good weapons. It gives you raiding weapons and gives you ammo as well, and some explosive ammo. And yeah, but you have to be careful going up against Mega Zombie. I'll make a video on how to fight it with a chainsaw, and using a chainsaw is going to be your friend. You could find chainsaw in forms such as this form, and you could find it in Kenwick and the campground and this campground, but most likely in forms. And you want to do the Horde beacon in forms as well. You want to do it in areas where people will not come easily. So you don't want to go in Seattle, definitely. You could go in this form. You could go in Shelton form. You could go in the campground. You could go in any city that's far away from the main ones, or even the small towns like Tacoma. So we just have, or maybe Scorpion 7. You could do it in Scorpion 7, but it's usually crowded. And by the way, you also get the chemicals from Scorpion 7 and the gas station. And yeah, that's it for this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.